Jasmine Brown is in the headlines again, and this time it's got the internet giving her a serious side-eye. If you don't know, Jasmine has been in a long and very public relationship with NFL quarterback Cam Newton. She already had his 9th child, yes, 9th, and right now she's pregnant again with their second baby together. But it's not the pregnancy itself that has people talking. It's the emotional confession she made online about her fears of raising a son that has fans convinced she's finally exposing the cracks in her relationship with Cam. It all started when Jasmine made a series of posts talking about how nervous she would be if her new baby turned out to be a boy. In her words, "If God gave me a son, I'd be so nervous because I feel like I'd subconsciously raise him to be a man I can only dream of but never experienced." She admitted that the thought was traumatic for her because she's worried she'd end up molding her son into the kind of man she wishes she had in her own life, but has never actually known. That's already a pretty deep statement, but Jasmine didn't stop there. She added that people keep wishing a son on her, telling her that there's no love like the love from a son. Instead of getting excited, Jasmine said those comments give her anxiety. Her words were clear. She just wants a healthy, full-term pregnancy, labor, and delivery. Boy or girl, she says it doesn't matter. But fans latched onto her underlying message. She was basically admitting that if she has a boy, she's afraid she'll project all of her unmet needs onto him. And when you take a step back, it's hard not to connect the dots. Jasmine is with Cam Newton, a man who has a long, messy history when it comes to his relationships with women. He's been accused of being disloyal, emotionally unavailable, and a serial father who hasn't given many of his partners the support and stability they've needed. So when Jasmine says she's never experienced the kind of man she wants, it feels like a confession about Cam himself. She's scared not just of raising a child, but of raising a boy to become the kind of man Cam never was for her. And whether she meant to or not, Jasmine basically admitted to the world that she's unsatisfied in her relationship. That's a heavy statement for someone who's about to bring another baby into the world with the same man she's indirectly criticizing. Fans wasted no time dragging her. One person commented, "So basically, you want to raise him to be a man that's nothing like his father that you chose? Raise him to be a man, not your man. Don't let your misfortune be his burden to carry." Another was even harsher, pointing out the irony. To be pregnant with a man's 9th child, your 2nd child with him, while saying you want to raise a son to be a man you've never experienced is wild. That's your fault. And this is where the criticism hit even harder. A lot of fans accused Jasmine of doing the exact thing she used to warn women about. See, before she became known as Cam Newton's girlfriend, Jasmine had a reputation online for telling women not to settle, not to let men play them, not to keep taking cheaters back. She would call out pick-me behavior and those women who bend over backwards just hoping a man will choose them. She'd say things like, "Cut that out. If a man wants you, he'll choose you."
Pick-me's are women who try to do everything right just so a man can choose me. Yeah, cut that shit out. Cause I'm gonna keep it real with you. Men already know what they want in a woman and who they want. But if you're so nurturing and you're an asset, and it's not you, they'll never tell you to stop doing what you're doing because it's beneficial. And I don't want to hear none of that shit like, "Oh, I'm just a nice person. I'm genuinely like that." Well, bitch, you gonna genuinely get played. No, it's just that I'm just naturally like that. Like the shit I do for him is natural. And your natural ass is gonna get played. If you are making a man's life easier, i.e. cooking, cleaning, providing pussy whenever he wants, and he's giving you the minimum, he's never going to do more. And he's never gonna tell you to stop because it's beneficial to him. History in niggadom ever has a man been like, "Oh, stop doing all this stuff. Stop making my life easier. I don't look at you like that." Hell no, they gonna kick their motherfucking feet up and enjoy these perks without doing no work.
And if you're cooking, cleaning, giving him everything while he gives you the bare minimum, you're gonna get played. But now, fans say Jasmine is the exact woman she used to talk about. The same woman warning others not to let men spin the block has let Cam Newton spin the block on her more than once. The same woman telling women not to be pick-me's is now scratching Cam's back to sleep, packing his bags and admitting she's terrified her son will have to become the man she never found in her partner. The hypocrisy is not lost on her critics. And honestly, Jasmine herself has openly admitted to her extreme level of devotion. In past interviews, she described herself as a submissive partner. She said she loves spoiling her man.
Woman do for her man? Everything. What does that mean? You know, like packing his bag, unpacking his bag, just making sure all the things that he wants. And I pretty much read his mind. So it's like, if I know you and I study you, like I know how you are in the morning, I know how you are about midday, I know when you're in this mood, what you need. Like before you can ever ask me for something, I'm already on it. I mean, he's spoiled. Boy, it is my joy. You know, I love to see him eating the meal that I cook. I love seeing him sleep easy every night, like clockwork. I scratch this man's back to sleep. And I know when he's asleep because I can tell when his breathing changes. And some people might think that's psychotic, but that's like, I just know that's when I'm like, oh, I can stop now. But I find joy in being your rest.
Making sure every detail of his life runs smoothly, from reading his moods to cooking his meals to scratching his back until he falls asleep. She's proudly admitted she treats him like a king. She even said she finds joy in being his rest. On the surface, that sounds sweet, but combined with her new post, it paints a sad picture. She's given her all to Cam, only to now admit that deep down she's never truly had the kind of man she's dreamed of. That realization is devastating, and it shows in the way her words came out almost like a cry for help. Still, sympathy was in short supply. Social media dragged her relentlessly, with many saying she had every warning possible and still ignored it. People reminded her that Cam has a huge number of kids with multiple women, and that long before she had his baby, there were red flags everywhere. They pointed out that he's publicly embarrassed her multiple times, even while she stayed by his side. Some flat out said they don't feel sorry for her anymore because she knowingly chose this situation, got pregnant again, and then turned around to post about her trauma. It's a brutal cycle, and Jasmine isn't the first celebrity partner to get caught in it. Fans even compared her treatment online to women like Jada Wada, Ari Fletcher, or India Royale, all of whom have been cheated on by famous men but didn't get clowned the way Jasmine has. One commenter even said, "Y'all only go this hard on her because y'all don't like Cam. When other women get cheated on, it's couple goals or entertainment. But when it's Jasmine, she's the biggest dummy alive." That point actually hit with some fans, because while Jasmine definitely put herself in this position, there's also a double standard in how people react. When rappers and athletes cheat on their girlfriends, sometimes the women are glamorized as ride or die partners, but when Jasmine stays, she's ridiculed. And still, even with that perspective, her post was heavy. To admit you're afraid of projecting your broken heart onto your unborn son is not just unusual, it's alarming. Psychologists call this parentification, when a parent expects a child to emotionally fulfill needs that an adult partner should meet, and many people worry Jasmine was essentially confessing that's where her head is at. Now here's the other layer. Jasmine has always preached about not letting men waste your time, but she's clearly invested everything into Cam. She already has one child with him, another on the way, and by her own admission, she's emotionally drained, and that's what makes people think she's stuck. They believe that even though she knows Cam isn't giving her what she wants, she'll never leave. In fact, a lot of people said the only way Jasmine will walk away is if Cam himself leaves her. It's a cycle we see over and over again with women in high-profile relationships. They know they're not getting what they deserve, but the investment, emotionally, financially, and with children, keeps them tied down. And Jasmine is no exception. But here's the bigger question, why did she even post this at all? If she knows how brutal the internet can be, why share something so raw? Some believe it was her way of crying out without directly calling Cam out. She's not going to blast him by name, but she's hinting at her pain, her fear, and her reality. Others say it's just another example of oversharing on social media, where celebrities lay their trauma out for the world and then get mad when people judge. Either way, Jasmine's post has sparked a debate. Some people sympathize with her, saying they understand the fear of repeating cycles of bad relationships through your kids. Others say she's playing victim while staying with the man who causes her pain, and a huge part of the internet just isn't buying it anymore, and they see her as someone who ignored red flags, mocked women in the same position, and now expects sympathy when the reality has caught up with her. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle. Jasmine is clearly dealing with emotional struggles, and being tied to a man with Cam Newton's track record doesn't make it any easier. But at the same time, she made choices, and those choices have consequences, not just for her, but for the children she's raising. So where does that leave her? At this point, Jasmine seems determined to stay with Cam, no matter how unhappy she admits she is. She's already in deep, and leaving would mean facing everything she's invested and everything she's preached against. That's a hard pill to swallow, but until she makes a different choice, it looks like she'll keep making posts like these, and the internet will keep reminding her of every contradiction along the way.